Inwarata Nusahai remains my amiable name, and you are welcome to this segment of the program. Always elated, delighted to come your way every Wednesday since the last 15 years and 10 months to add value to your day. And this morning we are continuing our psychological safety series. You know, last week Wednesday we looked at 4 warning signs that your team is losing psychological safety. And this morning we are going to zero on 4 ways to restore psychological safety back to your team. If your team is losing psychological safety, what are some things you need to do to restore the psychological safety back? Remember, psychological safety is about creating an environment where people have the liberty, they have the freedom to be able to express themselves in terms of idea contribution, admitting mistakes without fear of being shamed or embarrassed. But in an environment where the environment is not psychologically safe, you know, such a situation whereby team members can bring their innovation to the table, bring their ideas to the table, be able to admit mistake, will be absent. And if team members are not bringing their ideas and innovation to the table, it means you are not getting the best out of them. If they are not admitting mistakes, if they are not bringing their errors to the table, it also means that they are going to bring about a very huge loss for your organization or business. So this morning, the focus is 4 ways to restore psychological safety back to your team. The first one is for you to reduce fear of leaders, because one of the things that leads to a situation whereby an environment is not psychologically safe is when the team members are afraid of the leaders or the boss, of that particular team or organization or workplace. So you need to reduce fear of leaders. When there is fear, what it's going to do, it will short-circuit the ability of the people, to come up with amazing ideas, to come up with initiatives, to come up with creativity. It's going to short-circuit it. So you have to take that responsibility towards restoring psychological safety by ensuring that you reduce fear of leaders. When team members are afraid of leaders, it means that there is an emotional disconnect. There is an emotional gap between leadership and the people. And you need to see that, you fix that emotional gap, you fix that emotional disconnect. And one way you do that is for you to improve on how you show up as a leader. When you come to the workplace in the morning, or when you come to work in the morning, make sure that you greet the team members or your employees warmly. And avoid intimidating body language. Avoid talking down on them. When you come to work, like I said, greet them warmly. Avoid talking down on them. Avoid intimidating body language. Avoid harsh tones. This will go a long way to douse the fear, to reduce the fear, and then the people will have the opportunity, the psychological safety to be able to connect with you, and then things are moving better. It is very important that you also encourage healthy and respectful disagreement to reduce fear of leaders. And one way you do this is for you to make them to know that you are open to views, perspective that doesn't agree with your own. If their views are different, you will want to hear them, and let them know that you will want to hear them. This will reduce that fear. And then also learn to model humility. Now, modeling humility in this context is all about admitting mistakes. Don't present yourself as that super perfect boss that doesn't make mistake. If you model such a disposition, your team members, your employees are going to mirror it back to you by also hiding their own mistakes. And when team members, when employees hide their mistakes, it's going to negatively boomerang on the organization. It's going to result to a massive loss. This is very, very important. How to restore, or 4 ways to restore psychological safety back to your team. Number 1, reduce fear of leaders. Number 2, turn mistakes into learning opportunities. Turn mistakes into learning opportunities. Now, it is very important that as a leader, you do not always, punish your team members for making mistakes. Learn to operate from the perspective or from the mindset of seeing mistakes as feedback channels. Stop seeing them as failures. Stop, move from the page of seeing mistakes as failures to the page of seeing them as feedback channels to learn, how things should not be, done in that direction. This is very, very important. It is very important that, as a team leader, you are able to give your team members that psychological safety to be able to go the extra mile without that fear of being sanctioned for making mistakes. And this goes, the approach, the way you respond to mistakes goes a long way to make this happen. This is very important. Turn mistakes into learning opportunities. There are some mistakes that are, I would call sincere mistakes. Team members make these sincere mistakes from that sincere interest, that sincere desire to solve the team problems, to work on the tasks at hand. And in the process of trying to, take initiative to sort out all these team problems, to solve them, sincere mistakes are made. And then when these sincere mistakes are punished, in the future, you are going to see team members that will only just do what they are asked of. They wouldn't want to go further so that they wouldn't make any mistake that will result to sanction. So your approach is very, very important. Learn to turn mistakes into learning opportunities. We are looking at 4 ways to restore psychological safety back to your team. The third one is for you to deliberately reignite creativity and initiative. Deliberately reignite creativity and initiative. There are some work environments whereby when team members try to come up with creativity and amazing initiative that will help the system to be better stabilized and move to the next level of growth, you will hear statements like, "This is the way we have always done it here." Now, such statement, "This is the way we have always done it here," is going to make team members or employees to be creatively withdrawn. They will shut down creatively. And if you don't do something about it, you are going to, see yourself just remaining in one particular sport or cycle, just remaining in that position, and you will not get the best out of your people. So what do you need to do to make sure that you deliberately reignite creativity and initiative? Explicitly ask for views from your team members, especially during team meetings. And now, in asking for views, make sure you thank them for it, even if you are not going to use those views or those ideas they are bringing to the table. Also learn to create time for brainstorming. This is very important because in brainstorming session, they already know that they are there to bring ideas to the table. You want to solicit, idea contribution from them. You want to solicit views from them. And so when they come to that brainstorming session, it gives them the platform. It gives you the platform for you to be able to reignite creativity and initiative. And this kind of approach will also help you a long way to see that psychological safety is restored back to your team. The last one is for you to learn to rebuild trust to reduce turnover and quiet quitting. Rebuild trust to reduce turnover and quiet quitting. Now, good pay doesn't always guarantee that employees will stay in an environment where that is not psychologically safe. There are so many employees that have tendered their resignation letter, just to make sure that they protect themselves psychologically. Such environment, the pay is good, but they are losing their self-confidence. They are losing their self-esteem, and nobody wants to stay in such an environment for a long time. So you see people just tendering their resignation letter, they go and they just, want to see that their emotion is protected, their self-esteem is protected. Then you also see another set of people in that same environment that is not psychologically safe, whereby because of the pay, because of economic reasons, they stay in that place. And then immediately competitors just dangle a little addition to the salary they are presently earning, they just leave. And you can reduce that, you can avoid that, because such an environment where, that kind of thing is taking place will not get the best out of the people. And one way to reduce that is for you to publicly acknowledge the contribution your people are bringing to the table. It will go a long way to give them the psychological safety, to make them to stay and want to continue, working with you to give their very best. Then also learn to demonstrate your value for them, by just doing regular check-ins. Demonstrate your value for them by doing regular check-ins. Now, these check-ins should not only just be to check to find out how far they are doing on the task. It should also include finding out about their well-being. This will go a long way to make them feel that you value them. And when team members have that feeling that you value them, that is already psychological safety for them to want to stick with you and continue working with you and bring their A game to the table, bring their very best to the table. And also, avoid favoritism. Avoid situation whereby, some certain set of team members or employees carry the highest workload in the system, while some other certain set of employees or team members are doing far less work. This will discourage the other team members that may want to just make them to tender their resignation letter. So learn to rebuild trust to reduce turnover and quiet quitting. We have just looked at 4 ways to restore psychological safety back to your team. The first one, I said, reduce fear of leaders. The second one, turn mistakes into learning opportunities. The third one, deliberately reignite creativity and initiative. And the fourth one, rebuild trust to reduce turnover and quiet quitting. I believe that lots of value have been added to you today. Now, that's my email right on the screen. Send your questions, send your inquiries, and like I always do, provide the needed response to you. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, I will say be the amiable. Inwagata no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.